The bounty hunters. Hey, I just found another power node for this thing here. Can you show up and drop a bomb in the room or something? Scaly asks. Bad idea, little buddy. We have a limited number of shielded bombs. The armor is hard enough to make with the tritite-based metamaterials that compose it. Using it for bombs or grenades is prohibitively expensive. So we only have a few. Mark its location and move on. Oh, right, that makes sense. It's a good idea, little buddy. But the outer shell of the armor is just too damn hard to make, takes too damn long, and has to be layered and constructed in an even more annoying way for it to be effective as a bomb. It's just too impractical, Itchy says. You burnt through, what, about 5 million credits trying to figure out a way to make a proper bomb out of this stuff? Mustard asks. 4,017,000, Itchy says tartly. Holy shit, Scaly mutters. Research and development is expensive, little buddy. If you want to bring something new to the field, you have to pour a lot of resources into it for it to actually work. From my understanding, 4,017,000 is actually a very low amount of credits for researching a potent metamaterial, the adept states. Certainly cheaper than several studies of axiom effects I have participated in. We're one branch of many studying the material simultaneously. The combined cost so far is nearing $2 billion to get this material produced, understood, and practical. Pukey says, now then, this sitting room is clear. No other doors in and out beyond the two leading into the hallway. Furnishings and architecture hints that this castle portion is likely the creation of the SNCC component of the Gestalt. Imperial officers, I understand that the information is likely protected, out of date, and perhaps even lost. But I formally request any information you have upon those 3 prisoners. It is now aggressively clear that they are who we are dealing with, and any iota of information can be the difference between life and death for me and my team. The fine details are long lost, but all 3 were extremely potent but politically low-ranked adepts in the service of the Empire. They were punished for disobeying direct orders, citing numerous failings of their higher-ranked officers and conflicts of interest in the nobles who were giving those officers their marching orders. The adept states before sighing. They were declared traitor, however. They were extremely potent, as previously stated. Sending an army after them only resulted in a large number of casualties and embarrassment. Eventually, the only way to contain them was to send them to Mordennon, as it was a prison world at the time, and the only way to ensure that level of cooperation was to threaten their families. I see, in this Gestalt state. The technique was in use at the time, however. What little is known about their interactions before they were imprisoned is that at the best of times they were coldly cordial with each other. I do not know how or why they have combined into a single entity. But if it is them, then this creature is fighting itself far more than it's fighting us. While familiarity can breed contempt, it can also lay the foundations of common ground. Do not presume that they are still at war with each other, especially if they have a common enemy. I presume and hope that the uniform and armor style has changed in the intervening centuries. Otherwise, I would expect this Gestalt to be a lot more aggressive towards its malefactors and persecutors. It has, the adept states. Thank goodness it has. Right, we're moving on. We still need to find the heart of this monsters. Out of curiosity undaunted, how many bombs do you have that are shielded? What are your armaments if they fail? Each of us is carrying a hardened knife made of ghost steel. We each have a pistol and primary weapon primarily made of ghost steel as well. Our demolitions experts possess 3 cloak bombs each, and our ammunition for our weapons is composed of tritite, but the magazines holding them are made of ghost steel, and as such, cloaked. Pukey reports. Not much. This material is very, very hard to refine, and while the tritite components are relatively cheap, the other ingredients to this alloy are not, to say nothing of the long, energy-intensive, and delicate refinement process required. Next, you'll tell me that it creates an extremely dangerous byproduct as well, Scaly says in a flippant tone. Oh no, that's one thing it doesn't do. Get your ratios right and there are no byproducts. Toy with the refinement process the right way and you can make a cloth out of it, Mustard says. Really? Cool. Can I get some? Scaly asks. We've hidden some in your room 3 weeks ago and you haven't found it yet. What? We taped it to the ceiling over your bed. You literally look right at it at least once every day and you still haven't seen it. What is it? A piece of ghost cloth. A pillowcase with pillow inside it, Pukey says. Completely harmless, but you can't use it. You can't even find it, and it's out in the open. I'm checking my room after this. You should. I've had to talk the guys out of using scraps of ghost material to put all kinds of things in there. Oh, God. Thankfully, they understand that if you slither over an invisible jack, it will hurt, and I will kick their ass from one end of the ship to the other and back again if it happens, Pukey says. Discipline is shockingly poor for a supposed military organization. The adept notes. Lady, you just outed yourself as someone who's never been a common trooper or stayed with them, Mr. T says. Nothing wrong with it, but you have no idea. Oh, hey, another power nodule, Pukey notes as they poke into the next room. Do you have to say it like that? It makes it sound like you're looking at someone's privates, Scaly asked. Globules, then. Somehow worse, Scaly replies. Balls, then. Another power ball, the hat says. You're doing this on purpose? Who, me? Couldn't be, he says. All right, next chamber. Gigantic cold kitchen. Knives on hooks, empty cupboards, cold stove. Pukey reports before everything shudders and shifts. And what was that? The beast is legless, which means when we kill the engines, things are going to get exciting. Right. Please warn us when you hit the engines. I don't like the idea of being bounced off the walls. Pukey notes as they quickly check for a hidden passage and then leave the kitchen. Why do you keep doing that? This place may have been built primarily by one of the three minds, but the other two can still influence it, meaning hidden passages and the like are possible. They're possible without the place being built by committee, Scaly replies. All the more reason to check, Pukey says, but I can also think of no better place to hide one's most vulnerable point than a place not only in your power, but hidden within it as well. We're heading to the engines. Are there further defenses? The adept asks. Not on the thermal spectrum, however. I am seeing deliberate and cohesive shifts in the axiom field. Uploading visual now. Hopefully you can interpret what this means, Scaly reports. It means that I've well and truly upset the controlling mind, and she's trying to adjust where the monster is absorbing axiom to get a clear and unimpeded line of fire on me, the adept states. No further axiom updates will be required. Just keep me up to date on thermal and shifting terrain. Understood, Scaly replies. The ghost team opens the door and finds a hallway that seems to twist and contort. Pukey takes a step back and then lets out a thoughtful sound. What? Nothing. Just was expecting some kind of... Never mind. This isn't a video game. Pukey asks. What game? Scaly asks. Legend of Zelda. Forest Temple. There are a lot of Zelda games and forest dungeons are common. Not the time for this talk. We're checking the rest of this side, and if nothing else weird shows up, we go down the twisted corridor. Pukey orders and they move out. The axiom clears and she looks up. It's where the attack is going to come from, and if there's anything she knows about Imperial Adepts, it's that. The sky rips open and a blast of pure white energy slams down. The electrical force is enough to power a modern city for a week. The kinetic force is enough to shatter its windows and kill a quarter of its people. The thermal force is enough to start a fire that would overwhelm the broken city in its time of desperation. She takes all of it, molding it into the ready pattern she knew to prepare, into her emergency defensive meditation as she switches it to axiom, moving too fast to be controlled, and into the arrays her many legs have woven, transforming it into raw kinetic energy angled just so. The monstrosity roars in utter agony as a spike of pure power spears it clear through the center. She is not strong enough to face a Tringestalt, let alone a double Tringestalt. The sheer power redirected is enough that the abomination creaks and groans as it begins to dip in the air. Something vital had been struck by the redirected blow, and the abomination has lost much of its strength. What did you just do? The trainee Schmidt asks. Used its strength against it. The adepts of the Empire specialize in adept-on-adept combat. I am no Gestalt. I am no prodigy. But I am prepared, she states grandly. Soldiers, allies, we have wounded the beast. It is vulnerable. It is mortal. It is time to slay it. It's leaking an enormous amount of its slag and acid from that blow. The sheer stream is drying up, but I won't be able to tell you if it's due to losing all its ammunition or healing for a few more minutes. Scaly states. Understood. We move, she calls out. What's your name? You haven't given it, and your IFF is only registering you as an adept reinforcement. Scaly asks. My code name is Weaver 852, she answers. A little stereotypical, but fine, Weaver. May I refer to you as such? Scaly asks. You may, she answers. Incoming Axiom attack. At her warning, the troops scatter away from the building attack, and she shifts to intercepting the raw power and again redirects it through her legs. Something snaps and there is a deep groan and the sound of shredding metal as the monster screams. Everything lurches, everything shifts, and things start getting exciting. J3 and the hat brace against the doorframe and catch the rest of the team as everything pitches and they're suddenly trying to stand on a carpeted wall with metal boots. There are numerous curses, and some unseen presence sweeps through the halls, brushes right by them and keeps going. I requested a warning for when you killed the engines, Pukey says in a tart tone. Engines are still online. Axiom-based attacks are being intercepted and redirected by Weaver. She's cut the monster in half with them. The majority of her squad has been swept off the side and are on the desert sands. The hewers are still in position, but the forces on the beast are severely reduced. More techniques incoming. Get some distance and kill those engines. I will deal with the Axiom attacks, Weaver calls into the comms. You heard the girl. Get moving. We have engines to smash, Vexa calls out. Right, anyways, we're going back to our scan and sweep, Pukey states. Back, I can sense it now. The creature is dying and drawing less power. Your target is near the back of the building. Thank you, we're on our way, Pukey answers. Time to move. He shifts around and slips into the hallway. The entire house has been rotated, and now the back of the building is directly above them. Even as the squad shifts and moves down, there's a sudden swell and a scream of rage. Shit! They've got... Scaly calls out as the mind of the monster finds his drone tossed onto the wall, and the Axiom around him starts shifting. Dad, it's got me again, when... Slithern says as he looks up to the amalgam of 3 corpses and 3 to 6 minds staring back at him. The tree-like corpse is shifting and twitching. What? You, child, hurt us. Broken. Brought them. Do not kill. Maim. A blast of power slams towards him, only for it to be diverted at the last moment and dance around him. He can feel the tiny sparks of energy dance over his skin as almost the entirety of the attack is diverted. Do not!